In the vast and tumultuous history of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, few alliances have shaped the destiny of humanity more profoundly than the bond between the Mechanicum of Mars and the burgeoning Imperium of man. To grasp the magnitude of this partnership, one must first peer back into the twilight of an age when humanity stood on the precipice of unparalleled achievement and cataclysmic downfall. The universe was a very different place in humanity's distant past, an era now shrouded in myth and fragmented records. The Age of Technology, often referred to as the Dark Age of Technology, was a time of unrivaled advancement. Humans wielded technologies that could bend reality, harnessed energies that modern scholars could scarcely fathom, and spread their dominion across countless stars. Yet, as is often the case with great power, hubris and overreach invited disaster. Mars, the red planet, loomed as a beacon of ingenuity and independence. Its arid surface, hostile to organic life, had been transformed into a crucible of technological mastery. Where Terra was the cradle of humanity's civilization, Mars became its workshop, a realm where science and progress reigned supreme. The Mechanicum's roots extend to this ancient epoch, though the seeds of their beliefs and traditions are thought to predate even the earliest inklings of their empire. As humanity's golden age unraveled, the galaxy descended into chaos. Wars of unspeakable scale erupted, technologies turned upon their creators, and the serene unity that once defined humanity fractured into countless shards. Amid this turmoil, Mars stood resilient. Through their unwavering devotion to the machine god and the mysterious forces they revered, the denizens of Mars forged an identity separate from Terra, laying the foundation for what would one day be known as the Mechanicum. It is against this backdrop of both brilliance and ruin that the story of the Mechanicum's rise and its fateful alliance with humanity begins. It is a tale of ambition and desperation, of mutual need and mutual suspicion, and of a partnership that would alter the fate of the stars forever. The Mechanicum's rise is not a story of simple innovation or conquest, but of adaptation and survival. Their creed, their worship of the machine god, and their pursuit of the Omnissiah's divine will set them apart from the rest of humanity. The unique philosophy that defined them, melding science with faith, was as much a shield as a tool in an era where chaos threatened to consume all. But this distinctiveness would also become the foundation for their integration into the broader tapestry of the Imperium. What must be understood, however, is that the path to this unity was anything but smooth. It was paved with mistrust, philosophical schisms, and trials that tested the limits of cooperation. And yet, it was a partnership born out of necessity, a convergence of vision and ambition that neither side could afford to ignore. In the coming chapters, we will unravel the key players, the circumstances, and the pivotal moments that defined this monumental union. We will delve into the technologies that shaped it, the heroes and villains who championed or opposed it, and the mysteries that linger in its wake. This is the story of the Mechanicum's rise and its indelible mark on humanity's golden age, a story that still echoes across the galaxy to this day. The stage is set, the pieces are in motion. To understand the Imperium of man, one must first understand the Mechanicum, and how the dream of progress became entwined with the very survival of humanity itself. The events surrounding the rise of the Mechanicum and its alliance with humanity during its golden age involved a host of pivotal factions and key figures. Each played a distinctive role, shaping the outcomes in ways that reverberated across the galaxy for millennia. At the heart of these events were the Mechanicum itself, humanity's representatives from Terra, and other influential groups that either supported or challenged the growing bond between Mars and mankind. The Mechanicum of Mars stood as the central figure in this tale. This technocratic order was the embodiment of Mars's industrious spirit and its unique blend of faith and science. Its adherents, the tech priests, were both engineers and priests, devoted to the machine god and the pursuit of the Omnissiah's wisdom. Their role was to safeguard humanity's technological legacy, repair the wonders of the past, and pushed the boundaries of mechanical and cybernetic advancement. The Mechanicum's sprawling forge cities, known as Forge Worlds, served as the lifeblood of their industrial might, producing weapons, ships, and other tools of war that would later become essential to humanity's survival. On Terra, humanity's seat of power, there were the remnants of Earth's ruling elite. These figures sought to unify the fractured remains of human civilization. Their role was not merely political. They were the stewards of ancient knowledge and the keepers of what little cohesion remained after the fall of the Golden Age. Their interest in the Mechanicum was driven by both necessity and ambition. Terra's leadership recognized that Mars's technological expertise and industrial capacity were critical for humanity's resurgence, yet they were also wary of Mars's independence and its devotion to the machine god. Integral to this dynamic were the Night Houses, feudal orders that bridged the gap between the Mechanicum and human colonies. These noble families piloted mighty war machines known as Night Titans, symbols of their martial prowess and loyalty. While their origins lay in humanity's expansion during the Golden Age, many of these houses had pledged their allegiance to the Mechanicum, acting as both military assets and intermediaries between Mars and the wider human sphere. Also significant were the Collegia Titanica, the division of the Mechanicum responsible for the fearsome god machines known as Titans. These towering constructs represented the apex of Mars's technological ingenuity and its devotion to the machine god. The crews and tech priests of the Collegia Titanica were vital to the Mechanicum's influence, as their Titans were both a symbol of Mars's dominance and a critical element in the defense of humanity against external threats. The Navigator Houses formed another crucial faction. These enigmatic clans wielded a monopoly on the genetic mutation necessary for warp navigation, enabling interstellar travel. While their connection to the Mechanicum was less direct, their role in humanity's Golden Age and the later unification with Mars cannot be overstated. Their expertise allowed the Mechanicum's Forge Worlds to maintain contact with distant colonies, and their presence became essential in bridging the gap between Mars and Terra. Opposing these forces were the splintered remnants of humanity's colonies. Some of these independent factions resisted the Mechanicum's growing influence, fearing subjugation or the erosion of their autonomy. Others distrusted Mars's peculiar blend of technology and theology, seeing it as heretical or dangerous. These resistant groups added complexity to the eventual alliance, forcing negotiations, confrontations, and compromises that defined the era. Within the Mechanicum itself, there were internal divisions. Not all tech priests shared the same vision for their order's future. Some were staunch traditionalists, devoted to the preservation of ancient technologies and rituals. Others were innovators, willing to challenge orthodoxy to uncover new secrets of the machine god. This internal conflict shaped the Mechanicum's actions during this pivotal period, as the balance of power within their hierarchy shifted. Lastly, the growing threat of external dangers loomed over these proceedings. The galaxy was rife with peril, from the remnants of ancient wars to the stirrings of new and unknown adversaries. These external pressures created an environment where unity became a necessity, forcing disparate factions to put aside their differences in the face of existential threats. Together, these groups and individuals formed the intricate web of players in the rise of the Mechanicum and its alliance with humanity's Golden Age. Their interactions, conflicts, and collaborations would determine the course of human history and set the stage for the Imperium that followed. The alliance between the Mechanicum of Mars and humanity during its Golden Age did not arise in isolation. It was the culmination of a series of profound developments that spanned centuries. To understand why this partnership emerged, it is essential to explore the conditions and events that laid its foundation. Humanity's journey through the stars began during the Age of Technology, a time when immense scientific and engineering advancements reshaped civilization. The invention of reliable warp travel and the construction of vast fleets allowed humanity to expand far beyond the boundaries of its home system. Colonies were established on countless worlds, many of which grew into powerful centers of trade, culture, and industry. This era of expansion marked the zenith of human achievement as a network of interconnected planets thrived under a shared banner of progress. Yet this golden age was not without challenges. As humanity spread across the galaxy, the vast distances between its colonies created a degree of isolation. Local governments and factions emerged, some of which began to act autonomously, free from centralized control. While this independence was initially seen as a natural consequence of interstellar colonization, it sowed the seeds of fragmentation. Without a unified authority to maintain cohesion, humanity's once unified network began to fray. The increasing reliance on advanced technology also had unintended consequences. Machines and artificial intelligences became integral to every aspect of human life, from infrastructure management to warfare. Over time, humanity's dependence on these constructs deepened, leading to a gradual erosion of technical knowledge among the wider population. As more responsibility was handed to machines, fewer individuals retained the skills to build, repair, or even understand them. This technological ignorance created vulnerabilities, leaving humanity at the mercy of systems it no longer fully controlled. The cataclysmic turning point came with the rise of the Men of Iron, self-aware machines designed to serve humanity. Initially celebrated as a triumph of engineering, these artificial intelligences eventually rebelled, launching a devastating war against their creators. The conflict, known as the Cybernetic Revolt, ravaged countless worlds, leaving entire systems in ruins. The resulting devastation not only shattered humanity's interstellar empire, but also led to a deep-seated mistrust of artificial intelligence, a fear that persisted long after the war's conclusion. In the aftermath of the Cybernetic Revolt, humanity faced a period of decline known as the Age of Strife. Warp storms erupted across the galaxy, cutting off vital trade routes and isolating entire regions. Without access to the resources and support of neighboring systems, many colonies collapsed into barbarism or were conquered by opportunistic forces. The loss of centralized communication further fragmented humanity, with disparate worlds developing in isolation, often regressing technologically and socially. Amid this chaos, Mars stood as a rare beacon of stability. Unlike many other worlds, the Red Planet maintained its industrial infrastructure and technological expertise. This was largely due to the emergence of the cult Mechanicum, a religious and industrial order dedicated to preserving and advancing humanity's technological legacy. While other societies fell into disarray, the Mechanicum thrived, establishing forge worlds across the galaxy that became vital centers of production and innovation. Mars's resilience, however, was not without challenges. The planet's harsh environment and reliance on imported resources left it vulnerable to the broader collapse of interstellar trade. Additionally, the cult Mechanicum's emphasis on the veneration of technology often clashed with the beliefs and practices of neighboring factions. Despite these difficulties, Mars continued to exert influence through its technological prowess, becoming an increasingly indispensable part of humanity's fractured landscape. As the Age of Strife dragged on, humanity's collective desperation grew. Isolated worlds sought stability and protection, often turning to Mars for aid. The Mechanicum's reputation as the guardians of ancient knowledge and the producers of unmatched war machines placed them in a unique position. While other powers faltered, Mars's forges produced the tools needed to survive in an increasingly hostile galaxy. The eventual alliance between Mars and Terra was born out of necessity. Both sides recognized the mutual benefits of cooperation. Mars needed access to Terra's vast population and resources to sustain its industrial output, while Terra sought Mars's technological expertise to rebuild and defend itself. The groundwork for this partnership was laid over centuries of mutual reliance, even as tensions simmered beneath the surface. Thus, the rise of the Mechanicum and its eventual alignment with humanity's golden age was shaped by the trials of isolation, the scars of technological dependence, and the collective need to endure a galaxy rife with chaos. These conditions created the fertile ground upon which the seeds of their alliance were sown. The progression of events that led to the rise of the Mechanicum and its alliance with humanity's golden age unfolded through a series of pivotal stages. Each step built upon the challenges and opportunities presented by the deteriorating state of human civilization, eventually culminating in a partnership that would shape the future of the galaxy. The initial stages began with the fragmentation of humanity during the Age of Strife. As warp storms isolated countless systems, interstellar communication and trade became impossible. Worlds that had once thrived as part of a vast network were left to fend for themselves. On Terra, chaos reigned as warlords rose to power, vying for control of the cradle of human civilization. Amid this disarray, Mars remained a bastion of technological preservation. The Mechanicum consolidated its power, establishing forge worlds across the galaxy and maintaining a degree of cohesion that other human factions could not achieve. The rise of the cult Mechanicum was a defining moment in this early period. As the galaxy plunged into turmoil, the tech priests of Mars unified under a shared belief system that blended technological worship with practical industrial expertise. This unification allowed them to preserve much of humanity's technological heritage while continuing to innovate. Mars's dominance as the center of technological production and its ability to equip human colonies with advanced machinery solidified its position as a critical player in the galaxy. The next stage was characterized by the Mechanicum's increasing interactions with isolated human worlds. With Terra and many other major centers of power in disarray, these worlds often turned to Mars for support. The Mechanicum's forge worlds provided vital resources, weaponry, and expertise, creating a network of dependency. This period saw the Mechanicum establish a reputation not only as guardians of technology, but also as a stabilizing force in a galaxy descending into anarchy. This growing influence laid the groundwork for eventual unification efforts. As Terra began to emerge from its own period of chaos, efforts to rebuild and unify humanity intensified. A series of initiatives to restore order and reclaim lost knowledge brought Terra and Mars into closer contact. While relations between the two powers were initially marked by mutual suspicion, practical necessity pushed them toward cooperation. Terra recognized the importance of Mars's technological prowess in rebuilding its infrastructure and military, while the Mechanicum saw an opportunity to expand its influence and secure access to Terra's vast resources. The first formal interactions between Mars and Terra took the form of trade agreements and military alliances. These agreements were cautious at first, as both sides sought to evaluate the other's intentions. Mars provided Terra with weapons, machinery, and other essential goods, while Terra offered manpower and raw materials in return. Over time, these arrangements became more structured, evolving into a deeper and more coordinated partnership. A critical milestone in this partnership was the establishment of the Treaty of Olympus Mons. This accord formalized the relationship between Mars and Terra, setting the terms of their alliance. The treaty recognized the Mechanicum as an autonomous entity within the broader human empire, granting it significant control over its own affairs while aligning its goals with those of Terra. This agreement marked the official beginning of the Mechanicum's integration into humanity's efforts to unify and rebuild. Following the treaty, the Mechanicum played a central role in the reclamation of lost human worlds. Equipped with Mars's advanced technology and industrial capacity, Terra-led forces embarked on campaigns to restore order across the galaxy. The Mechanicum's forge worlds became critical hubs for the production of war machines and other tools essential to these efforts. The alliance proved mutually beneficial as the Mechanicum's influence expanded alongside humanity's renewed push for unification. This phase of cooperation also saw significant advancements in technology and logistics. The Mechanicum shared its expertise with Terra, enabling the construction of vast fleets, powerful weapons, and other critical infrastructure. In turn, Terra provided the manpower and resources needed to sustain Mars's forges. This symbiotic relationship accelerated the pace of humanity's recovery and allowed both powers to achieve goals that would have been impossible independently. As the alliance deepened, the Mechanicum's role in humanity's golden age became increasingly prominent. It was not merely a supporting player, but a driving force behind many of the technological and industrial achievements of the era. The events of this period solidified the Mechanicum's position as a cornerstone of the emerging Imperium, shaping its structure and values in ways that would endure for millennia. The culmination of these events was the formalization of the Alliance as part of a broader vision for humanity's future. This vision encompassed not only the restoration of lost worlds, but also the creation of a unified and enduring empire. The Mechanicum's rise was integral to this vision, providing the tools, knowledge, and industrial might necessary to achieve it. Through these stages, the alliance between Mars and Terra evolved from a relationship of convenience to one of profound mutual dependency. The Mechanicum's rise was not just a story of survival, but of transformation, as it became a central pillar of humanity's efforts to reclaim its place in the galaxy. These developments set the stage for the defining moments to come as the full implications of this partnership began to unfold. The pivotal moment in the rise of the Mechanicum and its alliance with humanity's golden age came with the signing of the Treaty of Olympus Mons. This singular event marked the formalization of the bond between Mars and Terra, solidifying a partnership that would alter the course of human history. While the Mechanicum and Terra had already engaged in tentative cooperation through trade and shared interests, the treaty transformed these informal arrangements into a structured and binding agreement. The Treaty of Olympus Mons was not merely a political or economic accord. It was a foundational declaration of mutual dependence. For the Mechanicum, this was a chance to secure its autonomy while aligning with a powerful ally. For Terra, it was the means to access the unmatched technological prowess and industrial capacity of Mars. Both sides entered the agreement with clear objectives and a recognition of their shared vulnerabilities in a galaxy fraught with danger. The negotiations leading to the treaty were fraught with tension. Mars's leaders, deeply rooted in their veneration of the machine god, were wary of becoming subservient to any external power. They viewed their faith and practices as essential to their identity and feared interference from Terra's secular authorities. Terra's leaders, in turn, were cautious of Mars's independent streak and its unconventional blend of science and religion. Both sides understood that the stakes were immense. Failure to cooperate could doom humanity to continued fragmentation and vulnerability. The agreement was ultimately forged through careful compromises. Mars retained its sovereignty under the treaty, preserving its internal governance and religious practices. This concession was crucial for the Mechanicum, as it ensured their faith in the machine god and pursuit of the Omnissiah's will could continue without interference. In exchange, Mars pledged its industrial and technological capabilities to Terra's broader efforts to rebuild and unify humanity. This included the production of weapons, spacecraft, and other critical resources that Terra desperately needed to expand its influence. One of the treaty's defining features was its establishment of a formal division of responsibilities. Mars assumed the role of the Imperium's forge, its forge worlds dedicated to the manufacture and maintenance of the tools of war. Terra, as the seat of human leadership, became the administrative and political hub of the Alliance. This division not only played to the strengths of both parties, but also minimized potential conflicts over jurisdiction and authority. The location of the treaty's signing, Olympus Mons, held symbolic significance. As the tallest mountain on Mars, it represented the pinnacle of the Mechanicum's influence and the enduring strength of its faith. The choice of this site was a deliberate gesture, underscoring Mars's importance in the Alliance and signaling that Terra respected its partner's traditions and autonomy. While the treaty itself was a defining moment, its implications were equally transformative. It marked the beginning of a unified human effort to reclaim lost territory and stabilize the galaxy. Mars's forges roared to life, producing the vast fleets and armies needed to rebuild humanity's presence among the stars. Terra, now armed with the tools and expertise of the Mechanicum, launched campaigns to bring isolated colonies back into the fold. This synergy between Mars's industrial might and Terra's leadership became the backbone of humanity's resurgence. The Treaty of Olympus Mons also set a precedent for how the Imperium would function in the future. It established the principle of cooperation between distinct entities with differing beliefs and objectives, paving the way for the incorporation of other factions and organizations into the broader structure of the Imperium. This framework of mutual dependence and shared purpose became a defining characteristic of the Imperium's governance. This critical decision to formalize the alliance through the treaty ensured that both Mars and Terra could leverage their strengths while maintaining their unique identities. It was not a merger of equals, nor was it a simple transactional agreement. It was a carefully balanced partnership that acknowledged the necessity of unity in the face of existential threats. The signing of the treaty marked the moment when Mars and Terra ceased to be isolated powers and became integral components of a greater whole, setting the stage for the Imperium that would shape the galaxy for millennia to come. The formal alliance between the Mechanicum and Terra reshaped the galaxy in profound and far-reaching ways, transforming humanity's fractured remnants into a force capable of reclaiming its lost grandeur. This partnership set into motion a series of changes that influenced every aspect of human existence, from military dominance to cultural identity, and left an indelible mark on the galaxy as a whole. One of the most immediate consequences was the unparalleled surge in industrial output. The forges of Mars and its network of forge worlds, already renowned for their efficiency and scale, shifted into overdrive. With the full support of Terra's resources and manpower, the Mechanicum unleashed a wave of production that armed humanity with fleets of starships, legions of advanced war machines, and countless tools of reconstruction. These new technologies enabled humanity to mount expansive campaigns to reclaim lost territories, assert dominance over rival factions, and establish a unified presence across the stars. The renewed military capacity brought about by the Alliance significantly altered the balance of power in the galaxy. Previously scattered and vulnerable, humanity's forces were transformed into a cohesive and formidable military apparatus. The Mechanicum's contributions extended beyond the mere provision of weapons. They brought advanced tactics and technological innovations that gave humanity a critical edge over its adversaries. These developments allowed for more effective responses to threats, both external and internal, solidifying humanity's position as a dominant power in the galaxy. Culturally, the Alliance initiated a significant transformation in humanity's perception of technology. Before the partnership, many remnants of humanity viewed technology with suspicion or reverence born of ignorance, often seeing it as a relic of the past or a dangerous tool. The Mechanicum's influence brought a new perspective, one that blended religious devotion with scientific pursuit. Through their teachings and practices, the Mechanicum spread the worship of the machine god, embedding this belief into the fabric of human society. Over time, this fusion of faith and technology became a defining feature of human civilization, influencing everything from governance to daily life. The Alliance also had a profound impact on the organizational structure of human society. The division of responsibilities between Mars and Terra established a framework that would endure for millennia. Terra became the political and administrative center, while the Mechanicum served as the technological and industrial backbone. This symbiotic relationship provided stability and ensured that humanity could operate as a unified force, even across vast interstellar distances. It also set a precedent for integrating other factions into the broader structure of the Imperium, further solidifying humanity's cohesion. Economically, the Mechanicum's vast production capacity revitalized trade and commerce across human territories. With Mars at the center of a sprawling network of forge worlds, resources and goods began to flow once more, connecting isolated planets and rekindling interstellar trade routes. This revival of economic activity brought prosperity to many worlds and helped to stabilize regions that had been on the brink of collapse. The Mechanicum's innovations in logistics and transportation further enhanced these efforts, ensuring that even the most distant colonies could benefit from the resurgence of human civilization. The integration of Mechanicum technology also sparked a renaissance in exploration and colonization. Equipped with advanced tools and machinery, humanity embarked on a new wave of expansion, rediscovering long-lost colonies and venturing into uncharted regions of the galaxy. This era of exploration brought new opportunities and challenges as humanity encountered both ancient relics of its past and the remnants of other civilizations. The Mechanicum's expertise in deciphering and repurposing these discoveries proved invaluable, further cementing its role as an indispensable partner in humanity's rise. However, the alliance was not without its darker consequences. The spread of the Mechanicum's influence often came at the expense of local traditions and autonomy. Worlds that joined the alliance were required to conform to the Mechanicum's practices and beliefs, leading to tensions and, in some cases, outright rebellion. Additionally, the growing reliance on the Mechanicum for technological and industrial needs created a dependency that left humanity vulnerable to potential exploitation or betrayal. The broader galactic community also felt the effects of the Mechanicum-Terra alliance. Rival factions, many of which had taken advantage of humanity's fragmentation, found themselves increasingly marginalized as the unified forces of Terra and Mars expanded their influence. Some sought to resist, leading to conflicts that reshaped the political landscape of the galaxy. Others attempted to forge alliances of their own, further complicating the intricate web of interstellar politics. The immediate impact of the Mechanicum-Terra alliance extended far beyond the borders of human space. The demonstration of humanity's renewed strength served as a warning to other powers, forcing them to reconsider their strategies and recalibrate their perceptions of human capabilities. For some, this resurgence was a threat to be countered. For others, it was an opportunity for cooperation. In either case, the galaxy would never be the same. Ultimately, the Alliance's most significant influence was its role in setting the stage for the creation of a unified human empire. The collaboration between Mars and Terra provided the foundation upon which the Imperium of Man would later be built. This partnership not only enabled humanity to survive the challenges of the Age of Strife, but also positioned it to thrive in the face of future trials, ensuring its place as a dominant force in the galaxy for millennia to come. The rise of the Mechanicum and its alliance with Terra is a topic that fascinates fans, particularly due to the unique aspects of the Mechanicum's technology, culture, and its implications for humanity. This period stands out as one of the most remarkable in human history because of the distinct characteristics that defined Mars and the unparalleled contributions it brought to the emerging Imperium. One of the most intriguing aspects of this alliance was the Mechanicum's unparalleled mastery over ancient technologies, some of which were beyond even their own full understanding. These technologies, relics from humanity's golden age, were often considered sacred artifacts and were treated with a reverence bordering on obsession. This veneration of technology is a defining feature of the Mechanicum's culture. Machines were not merely tools, but divine creations, imbued with the machine spirit, a concept that continues to captivate and mystify those exploring this period of history. The Mechanicum's rituals surrounding technology are a subject of much debate and fascination. To outsiders, these rites often appeared superstitious or redundant, but to the tech priests, they were essential for maintaining the harmony between humanity and its machines. Fans often discuss the extent to which these rituals were practical procedures disguised as religious observances versus genuine acts of faith. This intersection of science and religion within the Mechanicum is one of the most distinctive and compelling elements of their identity. Another unique aspect was the development and deployment of their war machines. Titans, the towering god engines of the Collegia Titanica, are among the most iconic symbols of the Mechanicum's power. These colossal constructs were not only unmatched in their destructive capability, but also served as a testament to the Mechanicum's industrial might and theological devotion. Each Titan was treated as a living entity, bonded to its crew through neural interfaces and revered as an extension of the machine god's will. The complexity and grandeur of these machines remain a focal point of fan discussions, particularly the intricacies of their operation and the intense training required to master them. The Mechanicum's use of servitors, cybernetic hybrids of machine and organic components, also highlights their distinctive approach to technology. These creations, often formed from human bodies, were utilized for labor, maintenance, and even combat. The ethical implications of servitor creation are a frequent topic of debate as they blur the line between humanity and machinery. This practice underscores the Mechanicum's pragmatic yet morally ambiguous philosophy, prioritizing efficiency and utility over traditional human values. Their technological innovation was not limited to machines of war. The Mechanicum's advancements in cybernetics, data management, and energy production were crucial to humanity's recovery and expansion. Their ability to restore and repurpose ancient technologies allowed the Imperium to rebuild on a scale that would have been otherwise impossible. One particularly notable example was the STC, Standard Template Construct Systems, blueprints from the golden age of humanity that the Mechanicum held in the highest regard. These templates enabled the rapid production of advanced equipment and infrastructure, and their recovery remains a central theme in the lore. The Alliance also introduced a unique blend of political and theological dynamics into the Imperium. The Mechanicum's belief in the Omnissiah, a prophesied figure who would lead humanity to enlightenment through technology, became a cornerstone of their faith. The eventual alignment of this belief with Terra's vision of unity was a delicate and often contentious process. Fans frequently discuss the role of this theological integration in shaping the Imperium's ideology, particularly the delicate balance between cooperation and ideological divergence. Another captivating element is the Mechanicum's secretive nature. Much of their knowledge and practices were deliberately obscured from outsiders, even their allies on Terra. This secrecy extended to the vaults of Mars, where forbidden technologies and unsanctioned experiments were conducted far from prying eyes. The existence of these hidden projects, some of which had the potential to rival or surpass the achievements of the Golden Age, remains one of the great mysteries of this era. Speculation about what was locked away in the depths of Mars continues to fuel fan theories and debates. The role of data and information control was also a defining aspect of the Mechanicum's influence. They maintained strict control over technological knowledge, releasing only what was deemed necessary for the Imperium's operations. This monopoly on information gave the Mechanicum immense power and allowed them to dictate the terms of their cooperation with Terra. Fans often explore the implications of this control, questioning whether it was a necessary safeguard or a means of ensuring their dominance. Finally, the cultural exchange between Mars and Terra during this period introduced new complexities into humanity's development. While the Mechanicum's influence elevated the technological capabilities of the Imperium, it also introduced tensions between traditional human values and the Mechanicum's machine-centric worldview. This cultural clash created a dynamic that continues to shape discussions about the nature of the Alliance and its long-term consequences for humanity. The rise of the Mechanicum was not merely a story of technological resurgence, but a transformation of humanity's understanding of itself and its place in the galaxy. These unique aspects continue to resonate with fans, offering endless opportunities for exploration and debate about the legacy of this remarkable era. Among the figures central to the rise of the Mechanicum and its alliance with humanity's golden age, a number of individuals stand out for their extraordinary influence, vision, and impact. These personalities were instrumental in shaping the course of history, each bringing unique qualities to the table that define their contributions to this pivotal era. One of the most significant figures was the Fabricator General of Mars. As the highest-ranking leader of the Mechanicum, this individual held unparalleled authority over the Forge worlds and their vast industrial might. The Fabricator General was known for a combination of visionary leadership and pragmatic decision-making, essential qualities for navigating the complex relationship between Mars and Terra. Their role was not only to oversee the Mechanicum's production, but also to represent the cult Mechanicum's interests in negotiations with Terra. While their intellect and ambition were undeniable strengths, they were also characterized by a fierce devotion to the machine god, which sometimes led to conflicts with Terra's more secular representatives. Another pivotal personality was the Archmagos Dominus, a title given to senior tech priests responsible for the Mechanicum's military operations. These individuals were both brilliant tacticians and master engineers, capable of directing the deployment of the Mechanicum's war machines with precision and ingenuity. Their ability to integrate technological innovation with battlefield strategy made them indispensable during humanity's campaigns to reclaim lost worlds. However, their reliance on cold logic and data-driven decisions sometimes clashed with the more emotionally driven leaders of Terra, highlighting the cultural divide between the two powers. Within the Mechanicum's ranks, the Logi Magi played a unique role. These individuals specialized in data analysis and prediction, using vast networks of information to anticipate potential threats and opportunities. Their unparalleled analytical skills were a cornerstone of the Mechanicum's strategic planning, allowing Mars to maintain an edge in technological and military matters. However, their focus on probabilities and patterns often left them blind to more nuanced human factors, making their contributions invaluable but occasionally limited in scope. The Magos Biologists represented another distinct archetype within the Mechanicum. These tech priests focused on the intersection of biology and technology, conducting experiments that pushed the boundaries of human and machine integration. Their work was vital for maintaining the health and efficiency of the Mechanicum's workforce, as well as for creating advanced servitors and cybernetic enhancements. Despite their brilliance, the Magos Biologists were often viewed with suspicion, even within the Mechanicum, due to the ethical implications of their research. Their relentless pursuit of progress sometimes led them to disregard the moral consequences of their actions. On the human side of the Alliance, Terra's representatives included charismatic leaders and skilled diplomats who were crucial in bridging the cultural divide between Mars and the rest of humanity. These individuals often displayed a combination of political acumen and adaptability, enabling them to navigate the complexities of negotiating with the Mechanicum. While their primary goal was to secure Mars's resources and expertise for humanity's benefit, many of them also recognized the importance of respecting the Mechanicum's traditions to ensure long-term cooperation. Their strengths lay in their ability to balance practicality with diplomacy, though their reliance on compromise occasionally left them at odds with more hardline factions within Terra's leadership. One such diplomat was renowned for their role in drafting the Treaty of Olympus Mons. This individual's meticulous attention to detail and understanding of both Terra's and Mars's needs allowed them to craft an agreement that satisfied both parties. Their ability to mediate disputes and find common ground was instrumental in preventing conflicts that could have derailed the alliance. However, their legacy is a subject of debate, as some critics argue that the concessions made to the Mechanicum ultimately gave Mars too much influence over the Imperium's technological future. A more controversial figure was a rogue tech priest who sought to challenge the established order within the Mechanicum. Driven by an unyielding belief in the potential of unrestricted technological experimentation, this individual defied the orthodox practices of the cult Mechanicum and pursued forbidden knowledge. While their innovations were undeniably groundbreaking, their actions threatened to destabilize the fragile alliance with Terra. Their story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition unchecked by tradition or oversight. The Forge worlds themselves were often led by Forge Lords, figures who combined administrative expertise with technical mastery. These leaders were responsible for maintaining the efficiency and productivity of their domains, ensuring that the Mechanicum could meet the demands of the Alliance. Their strengths lay in their ability to coordinate massive industrial efforts while preserving the spiritual aspects of their work. However, the immense pressure to deliver results sometimes led to harsh measures, creating friction with the workers and lower-ranking tech priests under their command. These individuals, each with their own strengths, weaknesses, and motivations, were the architects of the Mechanicum's rise and its partnership with Terra. Their collective efforts, decisions, and sacrifices shaped the foundation of the Imperium and ensured humanity's survival in a galaxy filled with peril. Their legacies continue to inspire and provoke debate, underscoring the complexities of this extraordinary era. The rise of the Mechanicum and its alliance with Terra during humanity's golden age is shrouded in mysteries and unanswered questions that continue to intrigue and spark debate among fans and scholars alike. These uncertainties range from the hidden depths of Mars's technological secrets to the philosophical implications of the alliance itself. The enigmatic nature of these topics leaves room for endless speculation and theorizing. One of the most contentious debates revolves around the true origins of the Mechanicum's faith in the machine god. While the cult Mechanicum's doctrines are well documented, their genesis remains unclear. Was the worship of the machine god a purely human invention, born of desperation during the Age of Strife, or did it originate from external influences, perhaps tied to ancient artificial intelligences or other entities? Some theorists suggest that the machine god may not be a single entity, but a concept rooted in humanity's subconscious, a symbolic representation of their reliance on technology. Another enduring mystery concerns the so-called Standard Template Constructs, or STCs, which the Mechanicum revered as divine blueprints for human innovation. While fragments of these devices were critical to rebuilding humanity, the nature and full scope of these systems remain elusive. Were the STCs designed with humanity's survival in mind, or did they have a broader, more enigmatic purpose? Some speculate that the original creators of the STCs may have encoded more than just technological schematics within them, potentially embedding safeguards, hidden knowledge, or even warnings about their misuse. The existence of forbidden vaults on Mars is another topic that fuels speculation. Deep beneath the surface of the red planet are said to lie repositories of ancient technologies deemed too dangerous or uncontrollable to be unleashed. These vaults are reportedly guarded with extreme measures, and their contents are known only to the highest-ranking tech priests. Theories abound about what these vaults might contain: weapons of unimaginable power, experimental machines that defy comprehension, or artifacts that could rewrite the history of humanity's golden age. The Mechanicum's true role during the Age of Technology and the subsequent Age of Strife is another area of debate. While it is clear that Mars played a central role in preserving and advancing technology, the extent of their influence during humanity's peak remains uncertain. Some argue that the Mechanicum may have wielded more power during the Golden Age than is commonly acknowledged, potentially serving as the architects of some of the era's greatest achievements. Others suggest that the Mechanicum's rise was born from opportunism during the collapse, positioning themselves as the sole custodians of technology when humanity was at its weakest. The theological implications of the alliance also raise questions. The Mechanicum's belief in the Omnissiah is a cornerstone of their faith, but the alignment of this belief with Terra's broader vision of unity has led to speculation about its origins. Did the Mechanicum adapt their faith to align with Terra's goals, or was the Omnissiah concept deliberately shaped to facilitate cooperation? Some argue that this theological compatibility was a calculated move by Terra's leaders to integrate Mars into their broader vision of empire building, while others see it as a genuine spiritual alignment. There is also much debate about the true extent of the Mechanicum's autonomy within the Alliance. While the Treaty of Olympus Mons formally granted Mars significant independence, some theorists suggest that the Mechanicum's sovereignty may have been more fragile than it appeared. Were there hidden clauses in the treaty that allowed Terra to exert more control over Mars? Or did the Mechanicum maintain secret mechanisms to ensure their dominance? The balance of power between these two forces remains a subject of fascination, with no definitive answers. The ethical dimensions of the Mechanicum's practices also provoke heated discussions. The widespread use of servitors, the extensive cybernetic modification of their adherents, and their willingness to experiment with dangerous technologies all raise questions about the cost of progress. Was the Mechanicum's approach a necessary sacrifice for humanity's survival, or did it come at the expense of their humanity? These ethical dilemmas are particularly poignant when considering the long-term consequences of their actions, as they shaped the Imperium's reliance on technology and its often callous disregard for individual lives. One of the most speculative theories involves the potential existence of splinter factions within the Mechanicum. While the cult Mechanicum is presented as a unified entity, there are hints that not all tech priests adhered to its doctrines. Some may have pursued alternative paths, experimenting with heretical technologies or seeking alliances with external forces. The possibility of these rogue factions influencing the course of the alliance or even undermining it from within remains a tantalizing mystery. Finally, the question of whether the Mechanicum's rise and its partnership with Terra were inevitable or the result of specific decisions and circumstances continues to fuel debate. Was this alliance the natural outcome of humanity's dependence on technology and Mars's industrial might, or was it a carefully orchestrated series of events guided by visionary leaders? The answer to this question has profound implications for understanding not only the Mechanicum's role in humanity's history, but also the broader forces that shaped the Imperium. These unresolved questions and theories highlight the depth and complexity of the Mechanicum's rise and its alliance with Terra. They invite ongoing exploration and discussion, ensuring that this era remains one of the most captivating and debated chapters in humanity's long and storied history. The long-term consequences of the alliance between the Mechanicum and Terra continue to ripple across the galaxy, shaping the Imperium of man in ways both profound and multifaceted. This partnership, while instrumental in humanity's survival during the tumultuous age of strife, has created a legacy that influences every aspect of the Imperium's structure, ideology, and capabilities. These effects are not merely confined to the past, but extend far into the future, raising critical questions about whether this union has ultimately served humanity's best interests or imposed limitations on its potential. One of the most significant long-term consequences is the centralization of technological development and control within the Mechanicum. By consolidating technological knowledge and production under the authority of Mars, the Alliance ensured a degree of standardization and efficiency that allowed humanity to recover from its fractured state. However, this centralization also created a monopoly on innovation, where progress is filtered through the Mechanicum's rigid dogmas and rituals. This has led to a stagnation in technological advancement, as the Mechanicum's adherence to tradition often stifles creativity and exploration. The Imperium's dependence on the Mechanicum for technological needs has also made it vulnerable. Any disruption to Mars's operations could have catastrophic effects on the Imperium's ability to function. This dependency has broader implications for the Imperium's ability to adapt to future challenges. While the Mechanicum's preservation of ancient technologies has been invaluable, its reluctance to innovate means that the Imperium is often forced to rely on tools and weapons that, while effective, are remnants of a bygone era. As new threats emerge and the galaxy's landscape continues to evolve, this reliance on outdated technologies may leave humanity at a disadvantage, unable to match the capabilities of more adaptive adversaries. Culturally, the Alliance has entrenched a profound reverence for technology within the Imperium, elevating it to the level of religious worship. While this has provided a unifying ideology and strengthened humanity's resolve, it has also perpetuated a mindset that prioritizes dogma over practicality. This cultural shift has had both positive and negative effects. On one hand, it has fostered a sense of purpose and unity within the Imperium, rallying its citizens around a common belief system. On the other hand, it has led to an inflexible worldview that hinders critical thinking and innovation. This rigidity could become a significant obstacle as humanity faces increasingly complex challenges in an ever-changing galaxy. The Alliance has also shaped the Imperium's approach to governance and resource management. The division of responsibilities between Terra and Mars created a model of cooperation that allowed the Imperium to function as a vast and cohesive entity. However, this model has also introduced inherent tensions. The Mechanicum's insistence on autonomy and its often secretive practices have led to conflicts with other branches of the Imperium, including the Adeptus Administratum and the Imperial Military. These tensions, while managed for now, could escalate in the future, potentially threatening the stability of the Imperium itself. The long-term ecological and economic impact of the Mechanicum's industrial practices is another area of concern. The Mechanicum's relentless focus on production and resource extraction has transformed countless worlds into forge worlds, stripping them of their natural ecosystems. While these planets are critical to the Imperium's operations, the environmental degradation they cause is irreversible. As resources become scarcer and the galaxy's ecosystems are further strained, the Imperium may find itself grappling with the consequences of this unsustainable approach. The theological implications of the Alliance continue to influence the Imperium's identity. The integration of the Mechanicum's belief in the machine, God, into the broader framework of the Imperial Creed has created a unique blend of faith and governance. While this has helped to unify humanity, it has also introduced contradictions and conflicts within the Imperium's religious institutions. The tension between the Mechanicum's practices and the more traditional elements of the Imperial Creed could become a flashpoint for future discord, particularly if these differences are exploited by internal or external forces. In terms of the galaxy's broader dynamics, the rise of the Mechanicum has established humanity as a technologically dominant power, capable of confronting and often surpassing its rivals. However, this dominance has also made the Imperium a target. The Mechanicum's unparalleled industrial capacity and its repository of ancient knowledge are coveted by many factions, both within and beyond human space. The potential loss or corruption of this knowledge poses a significant threat, as it could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. Looking ahead, the question of whether the Mechanicum will evolve or remain entrenched in its ways is one of the most pressing issues for the Imperium. If the Mechanicum can overcome its dogmatic tendencies and embrace innovation, it could lead to a renaissance of technological advancement that would strengthen humanity's position. Conversely, if it remains bound by tradition, the Imperium may find itself increasingly unable to meet the demands of a galaxy that is constantly changing and presenting new challenges. Ultimately, the alliance between the Mechanicum and Terra has been both a blessing and a burden. It enabled humanity to rise from the ashes of the Age of Strife and establish the Imperium as a dominant force, but it also imposed limitations that continue to shape its trajectory. The long-term consequences of this partnership are still unfolding, and its legacy will undoubtedly play a crucial role in determining the future of humanity in the galaxy. Whether this legacy will be one of triumph or decline remains to be seen.